Studioloo. It is Cindy and it is Friday evening. So I am here today. I wanted to share my cabbage dyeing experiments this morning. So as my children were kind of waking up and having breakfast, I always do a little something in the morning as I can while they're busy. So I started cabbage dyeing paper this morning. And so if you watched my earlier video, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I had started to experiment with doily dyeing with coffee. So this time I used cabbage. And so I'm really happy with a lot of the results that I got. Really pretty papers. I love this one. This one is like, I do a stack, and this is actually the one on the very bottom. So it kind of gets the most pressure. And yeah, so these actually came out really nice. I'm thinking I'll probably start putting dyed paper in my shop eventually, because I really do like making it. It's very nice. This one came out so crisp, it's like a photograph, really. I don't know if that's picking up on camera. I'll try to bring it a little bit closer, and hopefully it will focus. But yeah, it's really like a photograph. And that one's very pretty. It's like very bluey green and kaleidoscope like looking. This one's nice. It's got some like dried watermark kind of. This was the very top of the stack, so I put these on top of the doilies, and so they got the print of the doily on there, and then like the water pooling. I got some really nice color. And that's the other side, because I do two layers beside each other, so when I lay them down, I lay them like this. And then this is some of my dotted paper that's cabbage dyed. This is pretty signature paper for me. I really love polka dots, and I love the way that cabbage dyes with blues and purples, and it picks up some browns just from like the pan, because I use the same pan again and again, so it's like leftover coffee from old dye jobs, and the back is entirely different. So it's this pan that I got years ago. Initially I bought it for making pizza, because it used to really make nice bottom crusts, but since then my whole pizza recipe has changed, and I've learned that truly the key to the most successful, amazing pizza crust is cooking it at 500 degrees, and you don't have to have a special pan at all. I recommend putting it on parchment, because nothing sticks to parchment paper, and so stretch your crust, write it on that parchment, put it in the oven with the toppings at 500 degrees, and you will have perfect, amazing pizza crust. So this is an experiment that I did, cabbage dyeing still. I did a bunch of different folding techniques. So this one, I folded it in half, sort of twice, back on itself. Same with this one. Got lots of cool colors. Both sides are different, very fun. This one, I really like the blue and the brown together, very patina feeling. Some nice purples. So that's how I did that stack. And you kind of get like mirror images when you do that, so it's kind of nice. And then this one, I have a bunch of, so I do all sorts of different dyeing, and introducing iron or rust to your dye bath does really cool things. So I had this big rusty grid, and it's lined, so I thought I would try doing cabbage dyeing and laying my paper on it, and so it created lined paper, cabbage dyed lined paper, which is really great. And that's another piece. I did two stacks, so the ones that are a little more blue and not such strong lines were sitting on top of the ones like this that came in direct contact with the grid. So the cool thing is it's like, if you have like, say, a piece of metal, like if this whole thing is metal, if that's a grid, what seems to happen when you coffee dye with cabbage, or really anything, and you're doing it in like a low heat oven around 200 to 250 degrees. You can go up to 285 with coffee dyeing, but I've been staying a little lower lately. because of I've been around 220 to 250 because I've been putting some vinyl in my oven, and I don't want it to off gas or smell at all. So you've got to be a little careful with that. But what I was saying is that essentially, if you have something like this, it's almost going to act like a resist. So like those lined paper grids, as the steam is rising, the color is setting in the paper, and this is kind of acting like a bit of a resist. And it can act in two ways. One, it will fill the color around the item, or it will just really darker mark underneath the item, and it entirely varies. And then you might get one effect on one side of the paper and then the opposite on the other. So it's very experimental. I think if you want repeated results, which I don't, I'm just having fun, I enjoy the surprise of everything that's happening. I think you could, though, like, you know, do a study and you could probably repeat the same thing again and again and create entirely repeatable papers. But I don't want that. I want variance. So that's why I was doing these folding techniques. So this one I folded in half and folded a bunch of times. So it gave me all these separate little panels. This one, as you can see, probably I folded it and then I folded it into triangles. And I got this this one got a little hole in the center, so you just gotta be very careful when you're handling wet paper. You can get holes easily. So that's another of the gridded paper with the lines. And this one, you know, it's almost like watercolor, right? It's like this was folded into squares, and we've got purple, blue, gray, brown, almost a green tone, and all these little panels. And then the back is different. And this one I folded into diamonds. And I got some really cute, like, kaleidoscopy type effects. Same with this one. And more of my dotted papers. And sometimes you get like really nice dark blue, like indigo from the Cabbage. It's really great. That one is actually perfect. It got torn, so it'll be backing or collage paper. But yeah, it's really, really well defined. Yeah, and just a couple more that I just did different folds with. So yeah, that's my cabbage dyeing experiment from this morning. I also did a bunch of these too. These little, I have these little notebooks and I'm trying to use them up. So this is a little notebook, and like this small paper, I guess because the the piece of paper is much smaller, it's a lot easier for the dye to just, I don't know if it's the content of this paper or if it's just that it's a smaller piece, but it really concentrates itself very well on these smaller papers. And these aren't the only small papers that I've dyed. So I've always gotten the same result. Little papers equals a much stronger cabbage dye. So that is my cabbage dyeing, and I'm actually going to keep these around as backings for the Rainbow Bright stuff. So let me just set these aside. Okay, so then I actually did finish a couple pieces yesterday after I filmed. I can't remember where we left off, but I'll go through the ephemera I've created so far for the Rainbow Bright journal. So we did, I think, 2 together. This one and this one, these two. So that's what we had in like yesterday's video. Then I created this one, little journal card. I can't remember, did I do that on camera? I don't know. But anyways, that's her. Then my little indigo I did with that cabbage dyed paper, right? Pretty perfect. I inked around it in nice indigo ink. And it's a little folder, and inside is just collages in blues and purples. Then I had this little library pocket that was torn out of a book. And so I just added a little picture from a Rainbow Bright book and then some colorful background, and then I inked around it in yellow. And then I had these music cards. I did a thrift haul video. I had gotten this game that was like all predicated on music notes, and it has these great big nice cards. So I did one with Rainbow Bright stickers. Then I made this pocket. I think I did this on camera, right? This book page pocket. And then I also finished this one, a little journal card with some nice rainbow yarn that I sewed on. I stitched around it and inked it and put a little heart on the back. So that is what we have so far for the first Rainbow Bright journal, and I'm still making, so I have lots to go still, lots of ephemera for, that's just the first of 3 of the journals. So hold on one second, sorry, I'm just grabbing stuff. Okay, so what I thought we would do today is playing with fire. No, kidding, but not really. So I am going to, today I'm going to test out an AliExpress purchase. So I have never done sealing waxes before. So I saw on AliExpress, the sealing wax store. So they had all these different beautiful wax colors of all these different little like nibs of wax. You can get a variety pack. I got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 14 or 15 different colors. Then I got this little like stand. I think I had this in a video a couple weeks ago. These 2 parts had arrived early. And so this is like the little thing that holds the lit tea light, and you heat your wax up in here and then you pour it. So I have this spoon and furnace and the tea lights I already had. And so that is one. Then I also have a second spoon, and it's got like a curve to it, so it's kind of nice. And it is like also a really nice metal. It's very ornate. It's very well made. It feels very bronzy, like it's nice. And then it came, also I got this matching handle for the stamp, and these are interchangeable, so you can get all different stamps. So you can even make custom ones. So because I refer to my journals as Moon Bee Books, I got this little bee. And so that I will probably use in my journals. I got a second handle. Also, like, you can get just this more simple style, and they're interchangeable as well. And I actually did get a custom stamp. So not sure if this shows up like the right way or not, but this says Studioloo. So this is my custom Studioloo stamp. And then I got 3 other stamp heads. One says handmade. One is stars and planets, and one is like a little bow. So I think that's all of them. Yeah. So I thought we could try this out today and see what result we get. Now, disclaimer, I've never used these things before, none of them. And so if I do anything wrong, be forewarned that I've not looked up any instructions on how to do any of this. I'm just kind of going off of, you know, what I assume you would do, which is melt the wax and stamp it. So let's start some fire here. So this is actually fire safety week for homeschool. We are learning about fire safety. So hopefully I won't give my daughter any examples right now. I can't pick up this little wick. I need something to grab it. There we go. Perfect. I could probably trim that down a little, but I won't. Barbecue, safety lighter. Okay, we have fire. So maybe I will just, I'm gonna let this just burn a little bit until the flame goes down. Hopefully I won't blow it out from chatting with myself. Okay, and then I also could maybe think about what I want to make next for this Rainbow Bright journal. Maybe something with this. It's so cute. Now, I guess I have to figure out how to meander this thing into my little wooden furnace here. Please don't catch on fire. Okay, we have fire. We're in the furnace. Let me just make sure I'm in frame properly here. Okay, I'm in frame. My phone died, so I don't have my phone to guide me. Usually I use my camera and I connect it to my phone so I can see my screen, but I don't have that today. So let's start with spoon number 1. Now I've seen what really intrigues me is color mixing. I think what the color that really attracted me was like these two together, the black and the pink, but let's not get too crazy, okay? Let's just go with, let's do a green. So I'm just going to use one to start because I don't know like how much wax is going to be created or how long it will take to melt. So it looks like it's starting to melt a little bit. And then I'm assuming that like all you do is you pour the wax on a piece of paper, then you stamp it. So I think I'll start with the B stamp. I feel so nervous, like it's so easy to screw this up, but maybe I'm just being silly. So we're getting there. You can probably see that it's melting. It's been like not even, I guess it's been 1 minute maybe since I dropped the wax in there. So it's still going. You know, I'm going to just let you watch this wax melt, and I'm going to close the door where my furnace is turning on. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like we have melted wax. Okay, now is the moment, right? I'm scared, guys. So if this doesn't work, okay, it's coming out. Slowly but surely it's coming out. Now I'm assuming that I should let the majority of the wax come out. I feel like it's just enough or maybe not quite enough for the size of the stamp. Probably I would need 2. Okay, so you'll see there's still some residue there. Now let's try. I feel like there should be like seepage coming out on either side. So that's a good firm press. I've kind of moved it around a little. Okay, so yes, you definitely need 2. I see the full image. Hopefully you can see it. It's really well defined, beautifully defined. The wax is entirely dry. The stamp is entirely clean, so it doesn't get, I was worried it might get all stuck in these things, but it doesn't. So, in the spoon, the wax, it's like kind of still warm because the metal is obviously still hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my multiple color experiment now. So I'm going to leave what's in there. The green, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to put a gold. And green and gold, and what else would be kind of cool with that? Green and that kind of light gold. I've also got this darker kind of gold. What would be another good color to go with that? Green and gold and maybe yellow? Or is yellow too close to gold? Maybe the light green. Or maybe a light, maybe a white? That would be kind of ugly, maybe. Oh, I'm so bad at choosing. Let's just go with this light green. I like this. It's so cute. Does it peel off the paper? Nope. Yeah, so it's a nice stamp. Really cute. Yay. So it just takes a little bit for the wax to melt. I don't know, should I do the same thing or do a different one maybe? Let's try maybe the bow. What would this lend itself nicest to? Maybe the handmade. Let's do the handmade, I think. I'll try them all out. So we'll take this little bee off and we'll put handmade on. Easy peasy. So it looks like it's getting there. I'm just going to give it a little minute or so. I think it cools pretty quickly. So it looks kind of like it's marbling. I wonder if like you could take something small, like maybe a paper clip, and you could swirl it around, like if you just bend a paper clip. I mean, it's already kind of marbling on its own, but could we just kind of swirl it a little? There we go. That's pretty. Then we'll set this down. All right, so I think that's pretty warm now. So I'm going to go ahead and pour. Yeah, that's a lot more wax. It's like double plus a little tiny bit. I don't really think that little tiny bit matters much though, to be honest. Now here we go. Handmade. Now there's that squish I was looking for that I expect to see come out the side when you do one of these. Just going to blow on the wax a little. And then I'm going to, whoops, so it's a little wet here. I just accidentally put my hand in there. I didn't get burned though. Like it's not that wet. Like, there we go. Okay, so I think this is more user error. I have to center this. You see how I see the handmade, I see the little hand, but it's over a little too far. I'm going to try again. Also, I think this is cute, but like from far away, I don't think you could really make out because of the colors that I chose. It's too light. So I'm going to see, I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to use a different spoon. This spoon is not designed for this, but I think it'll work. Let's try some different colors. Let's try this black and pink maybe. Black. And I think that this spoon feels a little thicker than the other one, so potentially it could take longer to melt. I might wipe this out with something. Let's see. Paper towel. I'm going to let you look at this this wax melting while I get a paper towel. And I might need to look at the furnace that's designed for those. Okay. So this spoon, I'm just trying to wipe it out. The spoon itself is still quite warm, and I think the wax is a little hard to get out. Like it doesn't just wipe out once it's dried, like it's really in there. You'll see that there's still residue, wax residue in there. So you could probably melt it again and like get it out easier, I'm guessing. But I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not like really worried about keeping it super clean right now. Not my priority at the moment. Actually, I'll throw that extra wax in there. Then I will flip my paper here, and it looks like this is getting very melty. I might just, there, grab it. Then I'm going to take the other end of my paper clip and just do a bit of a swirly. I think the pink might be getting lost in the black, to be honest. Yeah, I think it's going to take a bit of experimentation to see how much of each color is needed to, or maybe like you could melt one, then melt another on top of it, and you would get more concentrated color of one. Now this spoon is way more shallow, so I'm going to just try the wipeout idea that I just had. So yeah, I get a lot more wax. Now I'm going to try to hurry because I don't want this to dry. And I'm going to try the Studioloo stamp this time. Okay, so I feel like I'm more centered. Okay. Yes! Beautiful. It's clean. Yeah, so there it is, clear Studioloo. This is still a little bit wet, so I'm still a little oblong. I'm going to have to practice this, like making my circle, making sure that I'm aligned. I think part of my challenge is, as I'm sitting here filming, when my stamp is down, I can't really see what's going on this side. So it's probably better to like stand up and kind of be over it. But I really love that. I actually even like how this like pink metallic made this like silvery. So like it. Now I'm going to use this spoon that has this green residue here, and I'm going to see how much it interferes with a new color that I add. Just going to give that another little wipe. Actually, that came out pretty clean when it's still wet. Yeah, it's pretty clean. So I think that is the secret. I mean, I probably could just wipe that right out, but I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to see what happens. This time I think I'll use blue. One of those blues, maybe. Do we want to color mix again? Actually, let's do what I said, where we put one color on the bottom and one on top. So we'll put blue on the bottom and maybe purple on top. So we'll let the blue melt. And I'll just set the little purple right there. Then I think we'll try the space colors. So we'll just take our colors. Ugh, I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. Okay, here we go. Now, these are really easy to change. Very nice. Okay, so we've got blue mostly, yeah, mostly melted. Then we'll drop purple in on top. I'm really happy that like there's no sticking of the wax though. That's really nice. It's coming along. Almost. Okay. Yep, it's melted. I'm just going to give it a moment. And you know, you could, if you wanted to, you can actually rip these right up. That would even be like a cool way you could like make ephemera. If you had already done a bunch of these on a page and you wanted to like stick it down, you'd have paper on the back. You could stick it down on something. Okay, I'm gonna just change pieces of paper here. Okay, that is good and hot. Let's make sure I've got the right, yeah, I do, it's right here, this one. Pouring my wax. So the purple is kind of dispersing like a little line. It's almost like agate looking on top of the blue. So that's the majority of it. Now let me see how I can do here. See, I feel like you can't really control too much what you're going to get in terms of like the direction that the wax is going to squish out. It's got to go one way. It's like, I don't know how to make it squeeze evenly. So I might watch some videos on that, but this is the idea. Don't mess around with the wax. Let one melt, put the other one on top, and there's a really nice dispersion of blue and purple. So hopefully you can see that in focus. That's really nice. That would be really pretty on a space journal. Okay. Very, very happy with that. So now I'm just going to leave that there, and I want to try out my other one, which is the little bow. So I think I'll try like a nice bright pink and maybe a yellow. We'll see what two really contrasting colors can do, and we'll leave the wax that was in there already there. And let me just switch this, and I'll give this little handle a try again and see which handle I think. If I try again to see if I can easily get the wax to squish out evenly, we'll see if this one's any more successful than that one. It may just be practice. I might just have to keep trying, or it may just not be an actual thing. Like, this is possibly exactly what's supposed to happen. So maybe I'll watch a few videos or take a look online about like how to figure out how to do. I mean, I know these first two attempts, you know, those are newbie, don't know what you're doing attempts, obviously, but I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's like a vast improvement over this. And this one, of course, this one was decent. It was oblong, but again, I think it's the same kind of quality as that. And I think I might actually just rip the little bee out and keep that one. I will dispose of the handmade one, though that one I don't really feel impressed about. Okay, so the pink is melted. Let's drop in the yellow. So this feels very safe. It doesn't feel like, you know, I'm at any risk for fire. I think if you're doing it around children, you need to be careful, because obviously if they did knock this over, you could have melted wax and, you know, potentially flames. If you were next to a bunch of paper like I am, yeah. But this wax comes in a lot of different colors. And I think there's a lot of different shops that sell it. I'm sure that it's sold on Etsy as well. This only took about, I think, 2 weeks to ship to me from Sealing Wax Store on AliExpress. And that's actually decent, because some things can take months to ship. And of course, you know, the way things are right now, a lot of couriers are very affected as well. So, and that wax now is very firm. Yeah. And I notice if you like rub it, you can take the kind of shine off of it, and you see more of the sparkle in the wax. It's so pretty. I love that piece. So it looks like that one's getting pretty much done, melted. I'm just going to check. Yeah, okay. So I won't mess with it. I'm just going to give it a moment so it can get nice and hot. This is actually a relatively inexpensive. Like, each one of these bags was like $1 something US, and I think you get like, I don't know if there's 50 of these in here. I think all of this was like 30 something US, maybe 40 US. So okay, I think we are good to go. I'm just going to push this back a little. I'm going to pour right below. So some of my leftover blue did make it in there, and I am in love with that. I think that I'm not really going to clean this out. I'm just going to leave it. So do you see all the colors going on there? How beautiful that is. And see what we have left. All right, I'm going to try again to get this centered. We have a pretty round circle this time, so straight down. I don't know how long you're supposed to hold it here, but I just do it for a minute or so. Not a minute, a few seconds. And I lift it. So yeah, again, I don't know if it's the way that I put weight on things when I press them down, but this time we came out, I think, the same direction that I did with this one. Oh, it's so pretty though. It's kind of oblong again. It's really pretty. I also almost feel like now that I'm trying again, like I might be able to just do this with one piece of wax. So I'm going to do another experiment. There's all that color left over in there. I'm going to throw one black one in, and then I'm going to try again with just one. I love the colors of this. It's so pretty. My gosh, beautiful. I could probably use that in my Rainbow Bright journal as a little snippet or something. It looks like it's getting melted. Hopefully I'm in frame. I can still see that the top is a little bit dry, so I'm just going to wait until it's fully melty. Now it's all fully melty, but I'm just going to give it a moment to just heat through. So this is like one of the pieces of wax plus leftovers from what was left behind. And I don't know if there's like any kind of a spoon that you would use to kind of try to scrape it out while it's warm to get all the wax down, but something tells me that wouldn't be all that effective anyways. So I kind of like the idea of having this paper clip to be able to check that the wax is in fact heated through the middle. That one is. All right, here we go. Pouring away. Definitely getting a little bit of color. So right around this point, it's harder to pour it. So I still think you need two, but I think if this were up here, we wouldn't have this problem. I almost feel like I need a frame, some kind of a frame to like keep this stuff and keep it up here. As much as I want to keep experimenting, I think I will stop experimenting now with this. But actually is quite pretty though. You see the subtlety of the pink and the yellowy green there. It's really pretty. I think I'll stop experimenting though, and I will like actually check and see if there is anything I can do to make this easier, like to make it round. But I think overall, I'm really going to have fun with this. It's pretty fun. So yeah, I'm going to take my spoon out, blow out my tea candle, my tea light, and then I'm just going to set it back here. It is quite warm, as would be expected. These spoons do get hot, so be careful, obviously. And then I just keep this whole thing inside this. I got this plastic container like years ago at a garage sale, and it was filled with like a bunch of like vintage toys. It has the alphabet on the back. I have 2 of them, and they had like those old Garfield toys in them, those little tiny like figurines. I think they were McDonald's toys, and like Cabbage Patch toys and things like that. So I always am looking for a container to throw things in and keep it all together. So that is what I chose for that. So yeah, successful experiment, I think. That's a lot of fun. So I think that is all I will do on camera today. It is Friday night and I could not be happier. This weekend I'm dedicating my life to hand making things for Christmas. I have some big projects that I need to get done, and I'm going to get them done. I have like got all these plans. I'm probably going to make a list of requirements on myself so that I get my list finished. Then I know I'm on track. I got my, you know what, I might make one piece of ephemera while I'm sitting here. I got my Christmas tree, for this year. So we wanted to get like a tree that we can plant outside that was actually small enough to be tabletop to the ceiling. So the reason for that is the combination, I like getting a real Christmas tree, a big real Christmas tree, but the combination of toddlers and real Christmas trees, any Christmas tree truly, can actually be quite dangerous because little people, you know, they're really active and some of them are just learning things. Like my 1-year-old has learned to walk only about maybe 3 weeks ago now. And so he, maybe 4 weeks ago, he is very apt to fall down and to grab at everything. So, you know, you can imagine that with a Christmas tree that's full of like all different things, lights with cords that you can grab, and, you know, any kind of breakable baubles or anything that can be put in the mouth that shouldn't be, like, you know, those old ornaments that are very delicate glass, or like even old things like dried orange slices and stuff like that that might have chemicals on them if you've purchased them in a store. So all that stuff is like, you have to consider it. And then my 4-year-old, she runs around like she's some kind of a wild animal most of the time. So that is kind of the challenge right now. It's like, I didn't want to go there. So basically, I'm not going to take those risks. And we ended up getting this Norfolk pine, which is, and pardon me if I don't like get all my facts straight on this. I'm usually a much better botany researcher, but I didn't have time. It looks like a pine tree with small needles, like maybe like a spruce tree, but it's actually a seed from Hawaii, and so it cannot endure the cold. It looks like a winter plant, but it cannot endure the cold. So we won't be able to plant this one outside in our climate, but it's a house plant, and it's like, it likes full sun, and it's a really pretty little tree. And so the other great benefit to it is that the store that I bought it from, for some reason, they were clearing out all of that kind of stock. I have a feeling it might be because, so where I live, we're currently in a red zone because of an increase in cases of COVID-19. So they are talking about, like, even for stores that are open for essentials, they might be redefining what essential means, and they may be closing down certain sections of stores that don't sell, like if they sell groceries but then they sell non-essential things, they might either shut down those non-essential parts of the store to just limit people's shopping, or they might shut them down for one other reason, and that's to give smaller retailers a chance to compete, to be able to also enjoy, you know, the financial gains of the holiday season. So like if you're a big department store, maybe you sell groceries, but you also sell, you know, everything. Like we have certain department stores that are kind of everything stores. they might only be allowed to sell groceries and medicine and things like that. So it's interesting. I don't know what the decisions will be there yet. But you know, it's one of those things that, like, yeah, it might happen. And I think that they might have been clearing out, because it was very weird. I went into the garden center and like everything had some kind of like a very reduced sale kind of tag on it. So I thought, you know, we'll try this tree this year. It's fun to do something different. My daughter likes it. So it also came with a bunch of cute like snowflake wood cutouts. So we're going to be making salt dough ornaments and decorating it with that. And I don't even have to pull out all of my Christmas stuff this year, which is nice because we are trying to get things ready to move. So I'm just making this journal card, and I need a piece of fabric, I think. I should show you this scrap box that I have. It's such a mess. I don't even know where to begin with it. Look at this. This is what I'm grabbing from. Isn't this just completely out of control? Okay. This is why I need to use things up, right? So, I don't know. I don't know where it all comes from. Okay, so this is cool. I've got to get this untangled. This is hand spun yarn, and it's all, I can't remember, did I spin this right into the yarn? In fact, I think I may have. Every now and then I keep like a small sample of yarns that I've spun, and that's what this might be. It's like an art yarn. No, it's not attached, is it? Oh, it is. But I think I can actually... Do I want to pull it out? Yeah, I think I do. Even though the idea of people doing this to my yarn upsets me, kind of like... Although I've had people purchase my art yarns that have like things added into them and take them out because they just like the yarn, which I guess is fine. It's just, it's kind of weird for the artist to like think about. Yay, I love this. Okay. Let's get this big tornado out of here. Okay. Look at that. That's so cool, right? How do I want to attach it? I could use Fabri-Tac, but I think what I want to do is I want to zigzag stitch over it to just make it really like secure. Yeah, I think I want to do that, but I don't have my sewing machine set up right now. All right. Well, I guess that's a wrap for now because I have to set my sewing machine back up. I made some changes in my studio today, and I have to plug everything back in. So that is my chore. I have lots of chores to do, but I'm going to add this right up here. I think that's very rainbow bright, wouldn't you think? I do. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching me and my fire safety experiment. I'm glad that it went well and that no one was hurt. So yeah, all my personal information, my social media is all in the description box below. I hope you have a really fun weekend. I'll probably be back with some kind of video this weekend. And to everyone who subscribed and you're new here, or to people leaving me comments, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to hang out, please do click the notification bell to know when I make new videos. Anyhow, have a great night and thank you.